Okay, so let's unpack this. You've got some really interesting info here about the Adobe Marketing Specialist Professional Certificate on Coursera.
That's right. It's all the official material about this specific program.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive is basically to go through that source material you've shared and, pull out the key stuff.
Mhm.
We want to give you, the listener, a really clear picture.
Hmm.
What is this certificate? Who's it actually for? What are you going to learn? And maybe what makes it stand out a bit.
Think of it as the shortcut, right? To figuring out what this program is all about and if it actually fits with what you're looking for.
Exactly. And what's interesting is the source material itself seems pretty detailed.
It really is. It goes into the curriculum, spells out the skills you should gain, and describes the practical projects pretty clearly.
Hmm.
It also mentions the target audience, the format. It's all there in the official info.
Yeah, and straight away, a few things jump out, don't they? Like, it's taught by Adobe. That's a big name.
Huge. And it's specifically designed for beginners. They say it right there. No prior experience required.
Which is key for a lot of people. Plus, it seems to hit those really current in-demand digital marketing skills.
All right.
And it includes generative AI.
Yeah, that's a big one right now. Definitely relevant.
And the numbers mentioned are pretty solid, too. Over 11,000 enrolled already, apparently, and a 4.8-star rating from, nearly 200 reviews.
Which suggests people are finding it valuable, and that really brings us to the why care bit, doesn't it?
Right.
If you're listening and you're maybe thinking about starting a marketing career or perhaps shifting into digital marketing, well, this information is directly relevant.
It lays out a potential pathway. So knowing the details helps you decide if it's the right pathway for you.
Exactly.
So let's start with the big picture then. How does the source describe the main goal of this certificate?
Well, the wording they use is pretty clear. It's positioned as a way to launch your career in marketing.
Okay, Launchpad.
Yeah. And the main outcome they promise is you'll build in-demand digital marketing, audience research, and content creation skills. It's set up as a series of 5 courses, all leading to this professional credential.
And that beginner point you mentioned.
Mm.
They really stress that.
Oh, absolutely. Beginner level, no prior experience required. It pops up quite a bit. And they also really highlight the flexibility.
How so?
Things like flexible schedule, learn at your own pace. They give an estimate about 5 months to finish if you put in around 10 hours a week. So that flexibility, that's clearly a major draw.
Makes sense. So, okay, what about the actual learning? What are the key things you're supposed to walk away knowing how to do?
The source outlines a few main areas. First, planning, executing, and then evaluating a digital marketing campaign, sort of the whole life cycle.
Right. Start to finish.
Exactly. Then, understanding the marketing specialist role itself, what the job entails, potential career growth, that kind of thing.
So managing expectations, too.
Seems like it. Also, developing branded marketing assets, the actual content graphics, copy, whatever, and creating creative briefs.
Creative briefs.
Yeah.
Those are the instruction documents, right?
Basically, yeah. Outlining the goals for a marketing project. And finally, designing multi-channel campaigns, using different platforms together, and keeping up with emerging trends.
That term, multi-channel campaigns.
Yeah.
Maybe we should quickly clarify that for someone new.
Good idea. Essentially, it just means reaching your audience across multiple platforms. Think social media, email, search, maybe website content, but doing it in a coordinated way.
So not just throwing things out there randomly.
Exactly. A consistent message, a unified goal, but delivered wherever your potential customers might be. It's about being present in multiple places effectively.
Got it. Okay. And the specific skills. The source had quite a long list, I remember.
It did. And it seems designed to match those learning objectives and lists things like marketing itself, generative AI, social media content using Adobe Creative Cloud tools.
Specifically Adobe Express, they mentioned.
Yes, Adobe Express comes up. Also, content creation, content marketing, graphic and visual design, social media strategy, digital marketing overall, cross-channel marketing, which ties into that multi-channel idea, data ethics.
Ooh, data ethics. That's timely.
Very. And even color theory. So it's a mix. And yeah, seeing generative AI and data ethics in there really signals they're trying to cover the modern landscape.
Okay, now this is where I think it gets really practical, especially if you're thinking about job prospects afterwards, the applied learning projects. What hands-on stuff do you actually do?
Right, this is crucial. The sources highlight 2 main project types. First, you create a social media campaign mock-up.
A mock-up. So like a practice run.
Essentially, yes. You develop a strategy for platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You design example posts, graphics, maybe some ad creative. And importantly, you use KPIs to measure success.
Hold on, KPIs. For anyone totally new, what are those and why are they important here?
Ah, good catch. KPIs are key performance indicators. They're the specific numbers you track to see if your campaign is actually working. Well, for social media, it could be things like how many people engaged with your post? Did they click the link? Did you gain followers? Did it lead to sales? Stuff like that, measurable stuff.
Okay.
And using them is vital because it turns marketing from just, cool ideas into something where you can actually prove what's effective using data.
Right. Connecting the creative to the results. Makes sense. What was the second project?
The second one is developing a content marketing plan. And you'd apparently tailor this to a specific niche or industry you pick.
Okay.
So this involves mapping out content like a calendar saying what you'll create and when. Things like blog posts, videos, maybe infographics. It also includes developing SEO strategies.
And SEO again is, quick reminder.
Oh, right. Search engine optimization. Basically making your online content easier for search engines like Google to find so people discover you.
Gotcha.
So the plan covers SEO, but also how you'll share the content on social media and maybe use email marketing tactics too.
These sound like really solid things to show an employer. Does the source mention building a portfolio?
It does explicitly. It says the point of these projects is to build a professional portfolio showcasing your expertise and to gain confidence and work samples. Real things to put forward.
That's huge.
And they mention a tool for this. It includes a 3-month free trial of Adobe Express, so you have the software to actually create some of this stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's break down how you learn all this. There are 5 courses, right? Can we quickly run through what each one covers?
Sure. Course 1 is Design Fundamentals with AI. It's about 20 hours, they estimate. It covers core design principles, looks at design careers, gets you using Adobe Express, and importantly, how AI can fit into that design workflow.
Okay, AI right from the start.
Yeah. Skills listed there are things like content performance analysis, branding, content strategy creation, and some social media aspects.
Good. Course 2.
Course 2 is Generative AI content creation, about 19 hours. This one really digs into what generative AI means for design and marketing. It covers the basics, using AI tools for visuals and text, but also the ethical side of using AI.
Ethics again.
And how to streamline workflows. The skills list here is pretty broad. Marketing strategies, data-driven decision-making, market research, business ethics, content strategy, marketing automation, campaign management, social media, and MarTech.
MarTech. That's another bit of jargon, maybe.
Ah, yeah. Short for marketing technology. It's just all the software and tools marketers use, email platforms, social media tools, CRM systems. Customer relationship management. Basically, software to manage customer interactions. So MarTech is the whole tech toolkit. This course probably introduces you to the types of tools used.
Right, the landscape. Okay, course 3.
Course 3 is digital marketing. This one's a bit longer, 24 hours. It defines digital marketing broadly, focuses on planning and actually launching campaigns, including B2B tactics.
B2B being business to business.
Correct. Marketing to other companies, not consumers. And it covers using tools like Adobe Express in campaigns. Skills here include digital marketing itself, customer acquisition, lead generation, A/B testing.
Comparing 2 versions of something.
Exactly. See what works better. Also, advertising, target audience identification, CRM again, marketing automation, and AI personalization seems quite foundational.
Yeah, definitely. What about course 4?
Course 4 is social media content and strategy. Shorter, about 15 hours. This is purely focused on creating stuff for social media that gets attention, knowing the best ways to post on different platforms, using trends, and using analytics to guide your strategy.
So very platform specific.
Looks like it. Skills mentioned include prompt engineering, that's telling AI what you want effectively, Adobe Creative Cloud, data ethics, generative AI, graphic visual design, and creativity.
Okay, and the last one, course 5.
Course 5 is multi-channel content marketing, about 20 hours. This seems to tie everything together, designing, running, and optimizing those multi-channel campaigns we talked about earlier.
Getting everything working together.
Right. Aiming for engagement and results you can measure. The skills list here includes innovation, typography, Adobe Creative Cloud again, graphic visual design, UI/UX design.
UI/UX.
User interface and user experience. How something looks and feels to use online. crucial for marketing assets on websites or apps.
Makes sense.
Also, content creation, WCK.
So you see.
Web content accessibility guidelines, making web content usable for people with disabilities. Increasingly important.
Good to see that included.
Yeah. And it finishes with color theory, design principles, visual design, logo design, and creativity. So it blends the visual side with the overall strategy.
And it's worth just clarifying who's behind all this.
Yes, the source is clear. The instructor is Adobe itself, and it's offered by Adobe through Coursera.
Okay.
They mention Adobe's Digital Academy program and its mission, which is about equipping people with skills like AI literacy, content creation, digital marketing, basically helping people succeed in today's job market.
That Adobe connection definitely adds weight, especially with them integrating their own tools like Express and their AI perspective. What about Coursera itself? What does the source say about the learning experience there?
It pulls in themes from learner comments and platform features. Things like learning at your own pace, flexibility, applying skills to your job, finding topics you wouldn't normally access. That idea of learning without limits.
And it's all online.
Completely online. Access lectures, readings, assignments anytime, anywhere, web or mobile. That's pretty standard for Coursera.
And how does the payment work?
It mentions the Coursera subscription model, usually a 7-day free trial. You can cancel during that. After the trial, no refunds, but you can cancel the subscription anytime to stop future payments.
Okay.
And there's usually an option to audit the courses, just watch the videos and read materials for free, but without graded assignments or getting the actual certificate.
Right, for just exploring the content. Now, to give all this some context, the source material apparently has an FAQ section about the marketing field in general. How does it describe marketing?
It calls it a diverse and dynamic field, and importantly, one that blends creativity, strategy, and data, which sums it up well, I think. It lists specializations too: content marketing, digital, market research, SEO, social media, brand management. The usual suspects.
And what about the role of a marketing specialist specifically?
Describes them as someone who wears many hats. Again, blending creativity with analytical skills. Day-to-day tasks mentioned include things like running ad campaigns, doing market research, working with other teams, and crucially, analyzing how well campaigns are performing.
So based on that FAQ, what are the key skills needed broadly in marketing, according to the source?
It lists a few core areas: understanding marketing principles, branding, segmentation, consumer behavior, the sales funnel, communication skills, obviously, analytical skills, data analysis using tools like Google Analytics is mentioned.
Practical tools.
Yep. Digital marketing tools, Adobe Express pops up again, social media tools, SEO software, email platforms, creativity, naturally, and adaptability because the field changes so fast.
That adaptability point feels key.
Definitely. But it loops back again to say that while the field needs these skills, this specific Adobe program starts with no prior expertise required.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Bringing everything together from the source material we've discussed, what's the essence of this Adobe Marketing Specialist certificate?
Well, it really presents itself as a thorough, beginner-friendly, hands-on program. It's from Adobe, a major industry name. It covers the core digital marketing skills you'd expect, but also brings in really current topics like Gen AI and data ethics.
And the practical side.
That seems central. The projects are designed specifically to build a portfolio you can use, building confidence alongside skills. And it uses Adobe Express as a key tool. Plus, it's delivered flexibly online via Coursera.
So if you, the listener, are exploring career options, or maybe you need to get foundational digital marketing skills for your current role or a future one, well, this deep dive, just based on the source info, paints a pretty clear picture of what this specific path involves.
Yeah, it maps it out, the structure, the content, the promised outcomes, from beginner level right through to multi-channel campaigns and having work samples.
You know, what's interesting here, thinking about everything we've covered from the source, is how this kind of structured learning mixes those foundational marketing ideas with really cutting-edge stuff like AI and data ethics. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Given how fast marketing trends and the tools themselves change, how does a certificate program like this balance teaching those timeless principles with equipping you for the constant adaptation and, frankly, continuous learning you'll need on the job?
That's a really interesting question. How do you build the foundation and the ability to build on top of it constantly?
Something for you to think about as you consider your own learning path.
Definitely food for thought.